Hello, how are you guys doing? Happy New Year's Eve. Good morning to you. You live in a shoe. I can't wait until I don't have to worry about this little indentation. Do you guys want to see? It's like, do you see this? That's exactly where the camera is sitting right now, in this little indentation. Not very well, may I add, but okay, my plan was to vlog all day today, and I didn't end up doing that. So, but what I would really like to do is make tonight a little bit shorter of a vlog. I'm still finishing up. I have like a half an hour left of David Sedaris' Holidays on Ice, which tomorrow is my book club live stream on that. And then I'm gonna make this vlog a little bit shorter tonight. It's probably gonna be like half an hour, maybe. I haven't done a half an hour vlog on here in forever, but then tomorrow I wanna make my vlog very long. Like maybe the longest vlog I've ever done on here. But I may wake up tomorrow and be like, no, I can't do it. So we'll just have to see. If I vlog throughout the day tomorrow, then yeah, that will probably be the case. But if I forget, it's not even that I forgot today. I didn't. The camera was sitting out there. Was that? So this was kind of our day today. I got up and I got up today and why can't I remember what I did today? It must have been such an exciting day. I got up today and then God, I can't even remember. It's been like such a long day. Alex was watching shows on his computer. He was watching You by Carolyn Kepnes, which is really funny because I had read that for the book club. And so he was telling me it's like really, really good. Apparently it's on Netflix now. So I'm going to be watching that at the beginning of the year. I have a couple shows I want to watch. I want to watch that. I want to watch The Innocent Man. There's a couple movies I want to watch. So I've got some stuff that I've got to, some shows I want to watch. And then it is like so hot in here all of a sudden. Okay. So he was watching You by Carolyn Kepnes, and then I got up and I was like, I had to go get PB's medicine today, and then I also had to run some errands, and I went and got a coffee and things like that. I actually just made coffee before I left. This is the Starbucks pumpkin spice, the little Keurig K-Cups. I really like the pumpkin spice. At first I didn't like it, but now I really like it. I even opted over the cinnamon dolce tonight. So, I went and did all that, and then I came home, and he asked me to bring him 3 pieces of pizza from Costco. And I wasn't, like, super hungry at the time. I was, like, not hungry at all. We were both talking tonight about how we have, like, just not done well on our diets whatsoever this week. But anyway, so then I filmed some videos, and one of them was my BookTube, like, year in review, like, all of my favorite books from 2018. I picked 17 books that were, like, my favorites. But it was really hard. Like, I went through there, and I was just like, any book that had really stood out to me, or any book that, like, I've recommended to people, I went through there. But what I did was, like, I inserted the picture when I edited it, so it took me a really, really long time to put my BookTube video together. Tomorrow, I'm thinking about filming. It's either going to be tomorrow or Monday, depending on how much time I have tomorrow, because I have to do the live stream, and we'll get a brunch. But I'm gonna film like the worst books of 2018 that I read, which if you watch my vlog won't be a surprise to you, because I had a couple books that I didn't even finish this year because I DNF'd them. DNF means do not finish. Did not finish. So yeah, so I did that, and then Alex had already eaten. I said, do you want to go get something to eat? And he said, no, I'm not hungry, because I just had those 3 pieces of pizza like 2 hours ago. And I said, okay. And I said, you know, we still have RuPaul's Drag Race to watch. And he was like, yeah, and we also have Project Runway All-Stars. And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, well, I'm gonna go to the grocery store and get something to eat. Do you, because I wanted this like street corn stuff. And I said, do you want me to get you anything? He was like, yeah, get me veggie chips, get me chips and salsa, and then we can just sit here and watch these shows. It'll be real fun. And I said, okay, that'll be fun. So I went to Meijer. It was late by that point. It was like 10:30 when I got back. And we watched RuPaul's Drag Race. And I made my food. and he ate his chips and salsa. We got some hummus too. And then we were gonna watch Project Runway All-Stars because Alex, why is it going in and out? Hello? Come on. Why is it doing this? Okay, I'm gonna have to turn it off probably. It's so weird. Like literally when I do that, I can't just turn off the camera. Like I have to, or turn off, like stop recording it. I have to like turn off the whole camera. So anyway, so we started watching Project Runway All-Stars, and it was like a preview, and then at the end of like minute and a half it said, oh my god, that pizza place is so packed tonight. Oh my god, Broad Ripple, where this is like where all the college kids come and they go out and stuff like that on the weekends. It is so packed this weekend. It's 1:47 a.m. It is absolutely packed. But anyway, so it was like literally 2 minutes long, this video, and at the end of it, it said, Project Runway All-Stars airs January 2nd. I said, Alex, I thought you said that it starts tonight. He goes, well, I thought it started tonight. I guess it starts January 2nd. So we didn't have that to watch. And then he was like, I'm so tired, I'm going to bed. And I said, I'm sure you're exhausted because you were in bed all day watching TV shows on Netflix. No. But anyway, so he goes, I'm going to go to bed. And I said, okay. I said, well, I'm going to go vlog in just a little bit. But I ended up just sitting there and like looking at stuff on my phone, looking at Instagram, and before I knew it, it was, well, that was about 1 o'clock, so that was probably about 45 minutes ago. So I sat there and just kind of like in the chair and just relaxed for like 45 minutes. And yeah, and that was that. And now I'm vlogging. That was my exciting day today. I'm wanting to finish this book tonight so that I can start another book, because I bought a bunch of books on Audible yesterday. I know. I'm like really ready to get back into the Audible. Harry Potter really slowed me down. I think what I'm going to try to do is, well, I want to listen to another book before I listen to Harry Potter. So I'm thinking about, and I'm going to listen to The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule. That's for the book club in January. I'm going to listen to that on Audible as well. Mel and I are both going to listen to that on Audible. But I went today to, oh, that's one of the things I did. I went to Half Price Books to try to find that, and I wanted to like kind of scout out some books for the book club, like true crime books, so that she and I could talk about it and figure out which ones we're going to read and things like that. And I really want to read, it's called something, Small Town, Small Something, I can't remember, but it's like the book, it was really famous, about the JonBenet Ramsey case. But the problem is, since that case, or since that book came out, there have been so many developments in the story. So I don't know that, I think that's like the best book to read on the topic, but maybe, I don't know. There was a couple other ones in there that I kind of had forgotten about, and I was like, oh, this would be interesting to read. So I've got some ideas for some other true crime novels, or true crime books as well, to read for the book club. But I couldn't find a copy of The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule. They had like all the other Anne Rule books, but they didn't have that one. I couldn't believe it. So, yeah. I did that, and then I bought a bunch of books on Audible. I'm trying to think of what I bought. I bought the second book in the Nora Roberts series called Year One that came out last year. I don't know what the second one is called. I can't remember. And then Year Two, maybe, I don't know. And then I bought the third book in the Sylvain Nouvelle series, Sleeping Giants. It's like the end of the series. I've listened to the first one too. The second one I hated. The first one I loved. And I haven't listened to the third one yet. They're narrated, so, like, I can't imagine reading them as a book because it reads like a textbook, but the audio version is great. There's like a cast of characters. So they're really interesting and fun to listen to. And then I bought something else. The Stranger Beside Me. I don't know, but if your Audible is having a really big sale right now, it's like a 2-for-1 sale. So if you have Audible, just so you know, if you haven't been on there lately, that like they have all these, it's not every book, but it's a lot of books, a lot of good books. Actually, I'll Be Gone in the Dark is one of them, about the Golden State Killer. So you can get 2 books for 1 credit, which is a good deal. And that's how I've actually bought like a lot of books. Audible has amazing sales, and so whenever they're having a sale, I didn't buy any books that were sale books because there was nothing I wanted, and I didn't just need to buy books just to buy books, even though I bought some books. But there were just some books I know what I bought. The new Adam Silvera book, Maybe It's Us, or What If It's Us, or something like that. I cannot for the life of me remember who he wrote that book with. Becky Albertalli. Oh my God, it was driving me crazy today on my BookTube video. I couldn't remember who he wrote that with. But anyway, so I got that as well because I've been wanting to read that since it came out. And I love Adam Silvera. Oh my God, he is such a fantastic writer. He's so adorable too. So anyway, if you guys haven't read anything by Adam Silvera, he is just like fantastic author, young adult author. So yeah, that was what I bought. But anyway, I've gone in before and like bought like, Audible will sometimes have sales where it's like $2 sales, $2.95 sales, or like your wish list will be on sale. It's just like, it's crazy. Twice a year they do a giveaway where you can win your whole wish list. I always enter that. Oh my God, I would die to win my whole wish list on Audible. As if that'll ever happen. But anyway, I love Audible so much. It's like this simple thing that just makes me so happy, you know, just to listen to audiobooks. We were standing there tonight. I was like cooking my stuff up in the kitchen because I got some of these mushroom somethings to go with they were horrible. They were horrible. They were so nasty. I was so excited about them too. It was something I'd seen that was new. It was right next to my, the brand that makes my, what do you call it, street corn. They do like, cauliflower pasta or pasta couscous. I don't know what it is. All this different stuff. And they have like this mushroom. Maybe it was a mushroom risotto. I don't know. But anyway, I was so excited about it. It was like, had mushrooms in it actually. And I like mushrooms. It was horrible. It was so bad. And so anyway, I just pitched the whole thing. I was so over it. But when I was in their kitchen cooking, there was this ad on TV for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And it was these kids, and they were like talking. It was like these two kids. It starts off with these two kids talking, and about like what they get to do at St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And they get to meet new people, like meet new friends, and they get to play and all this kind of stuff. It is one of the most precious commercials I have literally ever seen in my entire life. Like Alex and I both like stopped what we were doing and we're just like watching this commercial, and you want to talk about strength, okay? You want to talk about adversity. Like, these kids, I can't even imagine. I just cannot even imagine, you know? And, like that is one of my #1 goals for going into 2019, is to just stop complaining about shit that doesn't matter. And, like, that's hard for me, you know? But like, that's something I really, really want to work on. And so we were both sitting there watching this commercial, and when it stopped, I said to Alex, I said, it's like, I said, it really puts it in perspective, doesn't it? He goes, it sure does. And, you know, it's like, it reminded me of, I can't think of the kid's name. I think his name is, well, that one that used to be on Oprah all the time, his name was Matty. He passed away, but this was a different kid. I think his name might have been Matt, too. And he had this degenerative disease, and all he wanted to do, there's a TED Talks that he does. It's fantastic. If I can find it, I'll link it below. It is so inspiring. And he talks about, it's really short. It's not super long. It's like 10 minutes. And he talks about how all he wanted to do was that he wanted to be a drummer in the marching band. That's all he wanted to do. But because of this degenerative disease that he has, where he doesn't really like grow up and age, like he stays like, he looks the age of a child, or he looks like his body's like small like a child, but like he ages in his face and stuff. His like skeletal system couldn't hold the straps for, it's like one of those drums, you know, like in front that they play in marching bands. That's what he wanted to do. Well, he couldn't, you know, wear this drum thing to be in the drum. This is all he wanted to do, was be in this drum. And he goes in there and he said something about, there's a part where, like, somebody said, like, he talks about how when people ask him, like, you know, like, how do you get through a day? Or, like, how are you positive about things? And his attitude is so simple. I need to go watch it again because I can't remember exactly what he says. But his attitude is kind of like, well, why would I look at life negatively? Like, when there's so many positive things to look at. And he doesn't really take no for an answer. And so he ends up working with, like, the marching band, and his dad helps him and all this kind of stuff. And so, like, he gets to, like, for this performance, go out there and play with the marching band. And, you know, I hear stories like that, you know, these stories of, like, resilience and strength. And, you know, I think we see them all the time around us. But, like, for me, my higher power isn't in that, you know, like, I'm a big believer that my higher power speaks through other people. And, you know, sometimes I think it's like in the movie The Color Purple at the very end, you know, when Miss Celie and Suge are walking through the field, and it's before Miss Celie's sister shows up, and Suge Avery says, I think that God gets pissed off when we walk through the color purple and we don't notice it. You know, and there is beauty in strength through difficulty. And when we ignore that, I think, you know, we're really ignoring some of the most beautiful things out there, some of the most beautiful people. Because what we do see, because we see that as abnormal or different, I think we look at that and we say, oh my God, isn't that sad? Or how hard that would be, or whatever, right? Instead of looking at the beauty in their strength or the beauty in their adversity, you know? Like, just like I did tonight, like when I was watching that commercial, I was like, can you imagine? Like, you know? There are lessons around us everywhere, you know, and I think we ignore so much. I think we really, really ignore so much, and at least I do, you know, and I can only, you know, speak for myself, but, like, recently even, it's interesting because, like, I've gotten so many messages from people where they have said, like, your vlog, I love your vlog. Like, I listen to your vlog every day. It helps me get through the days. You know, I'm alone. I listen to it. I feel like you're like my friend. I love that comment so much. I love that message. Just the fact that you allow me in, I think is amazing. You know, and then I'll get messages about my Peterisms channel, and people, and I sit there and I look at it and I think, you know, in comparison to the hundreds and thousands of views I've gotten on that Peter Monn channel, you know, it's like, I don't get views like that ever, you know? And then that's the channel, though, that I get the most response on, like, individually. Like, people sending me messages, people sending me emails. It's always about my Peterisms channel or my vlog channel. If they talk about the drama channel, what they'll say is, I found you through your drama channel. I started watching these two channels, and like, you really helped me and you have no idea. And it's one of the reasons why I'll never stop doing these channels as long as I'm doing YouTube, you know? Oh my God, it slid all the way down. Okay. Anyway, I was talking about how somebody had thanked me for addressing, like, discussing the money, you know, thing. And it's like, I've had friends of mine on YouTube ever since, you know, like, I've had a couple channels be like, why don't you, like, get rid of those channels and just focus on the Peter Monn channel? Because if you did, you know, you get more views, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, okay, but it's not about that to me. Like, I love that channel. I love making people laugh and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like, I love doing the Peterisms videos, okay? And what's interesting to me is that people only ever, like, people see what they want to see in you, like I was saying. And, you know, like, when people are criticizing me, they'll say, you know, stuff about, like, well, he films, you know, super long videos because he's making money off, like, I don't make any money hardly off these vlogs, okay? I mean, I just really don't. And, you know, or they'll be like, oh, that's why he has 5 channels, because of this and because of that. And I'm like, I have 5 channels because different people like to watch different things, different, you know, parts of me. And the people that watch my Peterisms videos aren't always going to be the same people that watch my drama videos, and vice versa. And, you know, there are people that watch my booktube videos that don't watch any of my other channels. You know, they don't even know I have those other channels. You know what I mean? And then there are people that just watch the vlog. And then there are some people that I really appreciate that watch all of them, right? But, you know, what's interesting to me about it is, like, you know, today, it's like I spent, I mean, it was a long time I spent on my booktube video, and then, you know, my Peterisms video, I, like, found these journals, and then I put it, I mean, we're talking a couple hours, right? Go look at those views on those videos. I'm lucky if I break 500 views on a video on those channels. Like, I just don't, right? So I'm doing that because I love those channels. I love them. Just like I love this channel. You know what I mean? Like, so thank you for the emails and the messages, because it is literally always this channel or the Peterisms channel that people comment on and say, you know, like, I really, really appreciate you doing these videos. So I'll never stop doing those videos. That's why I encourage smaller creators, when they get down and they're like, I only have, you know, 5,000 subscribers and I only get 300 views a video. I'm like, me too, like, on 3 of my channels. Like, don't let it, you know, get you down. Like, just don't, you know, like, those 300 people that are watching your video are very, very important. You're making a difference to them somehow. That's why they're coming back and watching your videos every day. One of the things that really, really pisses me off on YouTube is when people don't appreciate the people that watch their videos. It's like, I only get, you know, like, 300 views a video. Okay, well, those 300 views a video that you're getting, you know, like when I was just saying a couple minutes ago, like, my videos on those channels, they don't break like 5, maybe 800 sometimes views a video, but like when I get 1,000 views on a Peterisms video, I'm like, woo, I got some views on this video, you know? But there's consistently about 400 to 500 people that watch that channel every day. And that, like, means a lot to me, you know? Now, I'm sure that some of those, you know, let's say, let me be fair, 20 to 50 of them are people that don't like me very well, and that's okay, you know? We all have critics in life. And, but, you know, the rest of you guys out there that are watching them are people that, like, really enjoy those videos. It's interesting because I always, like, people ask me, they'll be like, I want to start a YouTube channel, how do I become successful? And I'm like, well, I mean, I might be the wrong person to ask, but, you know, it's like, but I very much asked those similar kind of questions back in the day when we would interview YouTubers, you know, and I would say, like, how do you become a successful YouTuber? And, you know, like, they would never really answer that question. They would always like skirt around the issue. I think the way to be a successful YouTuber is this. I think it is to, if you want to be a YouTuber, just start it. Don't question it. Don't worry about all the finite details. I will say one thing, pick a name that you are happy with on YouTube, you know? Because you're going to be stuck with it. Like, that's just the thing, right? So if you're going to do a YouTube channel, but then there's, like, you know, like, Trisha Paytas's YouTube channel name is like Blind Sundoll 4MJ, whatever, you know, and her name's Trisha Paytas. So, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have that be your name, but whatever, you know. To be successful on YouTube, this is what I really, really believe. I guess, first of all, it's how do you measure success? If your question is, how do I make $1 million on YouTube? Well, that's a completely different question, and I'm the wrong person to ask for that, okay? But if you want to ask yourself how to be successful, how to be happy on YouTube, what you're saying is you already want to start a channel. Start a channel, okay? You have a story to tell. You have things to tell. Some of my favorite videos to watch are just like, okay, so I have a friend of mine, Tanner, that I've, met through YouTube, and he and I talk and stuff like that. I love his vlogs, okay? He is just so naturally hilarious, and so, like, he does these vlogs, like, where he's, like, driving through Starbucks with his girlfriends and whatever, and I love watching these vlogs. Or he'll do, like, a vlog where he's cleaning his apartment, or he's, like, and I'm always like, dude, you need to, like, be vlogging all the time. Like, that's what's interesting, and he's like, no, nobody likes to watch it. I'm like, well, I'm telling you that I like to watch it, and there's 100 other people that are watching your videos consistently, So, are you saying that those 100 people don't matter? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, no, I know what you're saying. Like, I know. He was like, but I just don't think that anybody likes those. And I'm like, I think they're fun to watch. I love watching vloggers. I think vloggers, there's just something that's interesting to me about watching just somebody else that's just regular and normal. I don't know what it is. I love that. My nose is driving me crazy, and it hasn't done that in a vlog in a while. But anyway, so when people reach out to me and they're like, how do I be successful on YouTube? I'm like, A, just start your channel. B, do what you want to do on your channel. Be authentic to yourself. Do what makes you happy. You know what I mean? I love reading meditations and talking about them on my Peterisms videos. It's like one of my favorite videos to film every day. And I just love doing it, And I feel like I'm sitting there like with Tanya reading it, and then because that's what we do. Like we read, meditations to each other sometimes, and then we talk about them. And so I feel very much like that. It's like, do what you love to do, and don't look at the numbers, because there are some of the happiest YouTubers that I know are people that long ago gave up on trying to have 10 million subscribers. You know what I mean? It's just like, they just realized at some point that it really wasn't about that. And they just love what they do, and they love posting videos. Like, BookTube is especially like that. And I also noticed when I started watching, like, a lot of candle reviewers, like, there really aren't a lot of, like, candle people in the candle community. I mean, I'm being all serious. Like, I know people joke about the candle community, but honestly, I like to watch some of those videos. If you go there, like, 5,000 is like a big number, okay, in the candle community. Well, on BookTube, like 5,000, 10,000, those are big numbers in the BookTube community, There are a few people, 50,000 is like huge. Like, let me put this in perspective for you, okay? There's like, I would say 5 to 10 BookTubers that probably have around 200,000 plus following on BookTube, okay? That would be like equal to like the 10 to 20 million mark on the rest of YouTube. This is just how I see it. Maybe other people see it differently. I don't know. And then there are YouTubers that I would say have like, 50 to 100,000 subscribers. And those to me are booktubers that, like, if that was equivalent on YouTube, like the other part of YouTube, it would be like 1 million to 5 million subscribers. Okay. And then I think like the 5 to 20,000 mark is like, I don't know, 100,000 to 500,000 subscribers on the rest of YouTube. And then everybody else is just trying to like have something to say. But the thing that's interesting on BookTube is some of my favorite booktubers literally have like 100 subscribers. But like, there's just something about them that I enjoy watching. And there really isn't this fight on BookTube, or this just being ate up with views, and they're just subscribers and all that. There just isn't that, right? And in the candle community, it's interesting because like some of the biggest candle community or candle reviewers have like some of the biggest, okay, have like 5,000 subscribers. That's the biggest, okay? So then, I mean, there are people that have more than that, but they do other things as well. So then you look at this and you think, well, this is interesting, that, I don't know, it's just crazy to me. So then you can't put it in perspective of numbers, because like when I think of some of the biggest booktubers, like Christine, I mean, she's probably the biggest. I don't know, I probably shouldn't say that, but like her and like Natasha and Jesse the Reader and Benjamin Atomes. I don't know how many he has, but he's kind of changed up his channel. And there's actually this Latino guy. I think he's from like, he's from somewhere in South America, and all of his videos are in Spanish, and he gets, I mean, you should see the views that he gets. I'm like, dude, he's a booktuber, okay? And I think it's because he's Latino and nobody else is doing book reviews in Spanish, and he gets a ton of views. But you know, it's just like, I think that's it. It's like, do what's natural to you. Do something that you love. And you know, the reality is that years ago, 10 years ago, when YouTube started, YouTube wasn't a career move for every 20-year-old in the entire world. YouTube was a passion, a hobby, that somebody had something they had to say. Somebody had they wanted to get on video and be themselves or be funny or show their lives or whatever, but we've moved away from that, and YouTube has become this business. And I don't hate it. You know, I don't hate sponsored videos and all that kind of stuff. Trust me. If I got asked to do a sponsored video, I'd do a sponsored video. I'm not, like, I don't have any issues with that. If it was something that I, could get behind and believe in. But I don't have any issues with sponsored videos or ads or that kind of stuff. I do have an issue with people not disclosing it. I don't understand why they can't just damn well disclose it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't have a problem with people making money off of a hobby. You know, that's like, pick your favorite, sport star, like one of the Williams sisters, Venus or Serena Williams, playing tennis. They love tennis, right? Okay, so should they not, I don't know, do like an ad for, Diet Coke or something, because Diet Coke wants to pay them $1 million to like only drink Diet Coke or Fiji water or something like that? I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I really don't, right? Get paid for what you love to do. There's nothing wrong with that. But do it because you love it. Don't like at some point get skewed and it becomes about that. You know what I mean? It's interesting whenever I get accused of that. I'm like, if you only knew the times I could have totally sold out for some views, that I just was like, no, not worth it. And I've always said on YouTube, like, we make videos because we want people to see them. So when people say it's not about the views, I'm not saying, like, don't be concerned about that. Like, I mean, obviously, I understand when people contact me and they're like, I'm making videos and I'm getting, 3 views and it's my grandma, my sister, and myself. Yes, I know. It's discouraging, like, it's really hard. I can remember the early days of being on BookTube, and I literally, if you guys have ever seen Haters Back Off, it's so true, but so hilarious. The very first video that Miranda sings, if you guys seen Haters Back Off on Netflix, it got canceled, but the very first video she posts on YouTube, she sits there and she posts it, and she just like watches it and waits for it to go viral. It's so true, okay? Like, the very first video that you ever post, you like literally sit there and you think that like somebody's just gonna watch it, and like it could be like, I can remember posts, like I don't know how, I think it was because I tweeted out my first video and I had already kind of interacted with some other booktubers, but I got like 20 views right away or something like that. But what's so funny is that you'll like look at that video and then like, like 4 days later it'll have like 26 views, and you're like, who are those 6 people that just watched my video? And then you'll see it has like 32, and you'll be like, oh my God, who are these 6 people? I don't know these people. And it's kind of really fun. And it's weird, like, when I first talked to Trisha Paytas and I was like, oh my God, this and oh my God, that, and she said to me on the phone, she said, I miss how innocent you are about all of this. She said, I miss how much, like, how you see it now. Because I was, like, and I get what she was saying now, and that's one of the things that I really try to hold in is, like, how I view all of it, and just continue to have fun with it and not get jaded about it. And, and I think that's the thing. It's like, don't allow yourself to get jaded about a passion. I don't know if this car, I'm getting close to empty on gas, and I don't know if it ever like tells you that you're close to empty or what. I don't know about this car, but anyway, you know what I mean? Like, and that's one of the things that's like, people can say what they want to say about her, and even some of my closest friends are like, I don't understand what the deal is with you and her. Like, I don't see what you see in her, and I understand it. And there are things that Trisha does that frustrate me too, because I see it as complete trolling, But like, in all honesty, of a lot of the YouTubers that I have talked to, like, YouTubers talk about the business aspect of YouTube a lot. They all do, okay? And she's one of the only, seriously, like, when we would talk, never did she talk about that stuff. She loves YouTube. She loves YouTube. Loves YouTube. and loves making videos and coming up with ideas and stuff like that. And I think something's changed in her recently, because I think, you know, she really wants to, you know, settle down and have just more of a normal life. But I think that kind of when she goes through this transition a little bit, I think on the other side we'll see her get back to some of the videos that she did before. Honestly, that's what I think, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I just love people that love what they do, you know, whether it's for their career or not. But YouTube's an interesting place. So if you're thinking about starting a channel, New Year's Day would be a great day to start. You could always say you started your channel on New Year's Day. You know, just get your camera out, get your phone out, pick a channel name and upload it. You don't have to anything more fancy than that. And you can sit down and you can be awkward as shit, because remember, 2 years down the road, you're gonna be looking back on that video and saying, oh my God, this is my first video ever. And just sit there and be like, hi, my name's Judy Smith, and I don't know what this channel is gonna be about. It's gonna be a little cooking, it's gonna be a little this, or do a skit, or do something funny, or show your house, show your room, I don't know, do a driving vlog, sit in your car, you know, like I do. Do whatever you want to do, you know, it's your video. Show who you are, tell your story. You got something to say. We all have a story. We all have a story. If this is one message that I could get out to everybody, this is the message I would get out. You all have a story. Every person's story is important, because your story is your life. And I don't care if your story is that you are a neurosurgeon that is saving children all around the world with your talents and skills in the medical field, or if your story is that you welcome people into Walmart every day with a smile and a how are you doing. Every one of us has a story, okay? Our stories may be stories of tragedy and struggle. Our stories may be those of joy and congratulations. Our stories may be a little bit of both. But all of us have a story. All of our stories are relatable to at least one person out there that goes, oh, I identify with what that person is saying. I identify with this, at what you're saying. Like, oh, that you watch my videos and I say, oh, Smoky Mountain Christmas is my favorite, you know, Christmas movie, and my mom and I used to go to Gatlinburg every Christmas. And 5 of you comment. You go, oh my God, I love Gatlinburg. Oh, I live 2 hours away from Gatlinburg. Oh, I live an hour from Gatlinburg, and all this kind of stuff, right? Everybody's story is relatable. What's your story? It's figuring out what your story is. You know, I gotta... Why do you think I vlog every night? I got 1,000 stories, hundreds of thousands of stories probably, you know? We all have stories that make up who we are. It was interesting because today on my Peterisms video, I read from this, I'm rolling my eyes because it was so cringeworthy, but I was reading from this journal that I had in my high school creative writing class that we had to keep, right? And what was so funny was that it referenced 2 of my friends in that class, like when I was flipping through it, that I can remember where they sat. My one friend sat in front of me and my other friend sat next to me. And, God, we thought we were so bad. We were such badasses. We were, I mean, punk rock in that class, just in school. But the 3 of us, like, and I remember it was like 7th period. It was like our last class, and I loved it. It was so much fun, and it just like took me right back to high school, like reading that journal. Like I could remember so much. You know, I was like flooded with all these stories. And in the thing that I read today, I was talking about, you know, like, I read the last journal entry that I wrote, and I said that I would have a lot of good memories from this class, and then I said, except, like, I referenced this, like, this guy had just called me a derogatory name, and I remember this guy, and I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he's, like, a minister now, like, and not, like, he's, like, super kind, loving, he always, like, post stuff, like, he'll, like, send me a little, like, you know, nice messages every once in a blue moon, and, you know, he'll, like, comment on my post, which I never post on Facebook, but when I do, he'll post on it and be like, good to hear that you're doing well and stuff, and I'm like, well, maybe that's his way of apologizing, you know, I don't know, and, or maybe he didn't even realize he had that kind of impact on me, but, you know, I was talking about, like, forgiveness is such a magical tool, you know, and I don't know, I just for a moment, like, because I said in my video, I was like, and I was horrifically bullied, and I was thinking about that, but like, I also had so many good times, you know, like, there were so many times in my classes that I just had such a fun time, like, you know, and I was thinking about that teacher, and I started crying in my video because she was so fantastic. She's since passed away. She actually passed away, like, a couple years after we graduated from high school, but, she was so fantastic, and she was like a teacher that would never tolerate bullshit. Like, if somebody called me a name in class, like, she, like, sent them out of class. Like, she dealt with it. And go watch the video if you haven't seen it, because I read what she wrote in there, and how she said if I ever need help, just to yell for her. I mean, I don't know, like, and you know, like, one of the things I think I've realized through time is that you know, I think it's easier to stay angry. I think it's easier to stay hurt and resentful at somebody that you've had differences with than to actually put yourself in their shoes and say, I wonder what kind of pain they might have been going through, or I wonder what their life might have looked like at that time for them to behave the way that they did. And, you know, getting sober, especially at 22, allowed me the chance to look at my part in things. But it also allowed me to forgive other people and to realize that I don't know what somebody else's pain is like, you know? I don't know. Like, when I talk about there's three sides to every story, okay? You tell that to somebody that one of their sides is the three sides, they don't like that. But I'll be honest, okay? Here's how it works. So if I'm involved in that, and there's my side, their side, and the truth, okay? I really do believe that. I really, really do, and I'll tell you why. Because from my point of view, and I talked about this on here not too long ago, you can't tell me that my side is not the truth. But you see, that's from a perspective that's kind of jaded, right? Like, I'm obviously going to see it my way, okay, with people in my ear telling me that I'm right. Now, that person over there, okay, if this is a breakup or, you know, whatever, or a fight or whatever, like, they really, as strongly as I believe that I'm right, they really believe that they're right, too. They're convicted that they believe that they're right. Couldn't talk them out of it just any more than you could talk me out of it, right? And I really believe in my heart of hearts that I'm right, and they believe in the heart of their hearts that they're right. So the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Well, what I don't do this all the time. I don't. This is gonna slide. I don't do this all the time. It's almost gonna stop anyway. It's almost at like the stopping point, 23. It just came up as orange. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay. Oh my God, now it's like, okay. I don't do this all the time, you know, it's something that I struggle with, but I really try to take a look at where the other person's coming from and what it might be like to be in their shoes, you know, like, I don't know, and I was thinking about that guy today, and I thought, you know, I wonder what his high school experience was like. When I got done recording the video, I thought, because he wasn't my main bully, it wasn't like that, it was just one of the crowd. And I thought, you know what, I didn't even know anything about him in high school. And that doesn't make it right, what he did to me. And that doesn't excuse it. And it doesn't make it kind or compassionate. But I'm sure there was a reason why he felt that way, you know, why he, or maybe not. Maybe he just was not a very nice person at that time. And there's a lot of people out there that are just not very nice. But I think sometimes, you know, in life, my lesson is maybe I need to take a look from the other person's point of view and see, you know, where they're coming from. And that's not always easy to do. When we're hurt, when we're in pain, when we're angry, when we're resentful, we don't really want to stand in the other person's shoes. But when the dust is settled and, you know, like, everything is cleared away and you kind of can step back from the situation and go, you know what, I don't really have an emotional attachment to the situation anymore. I don't really have an emotional attachment to this person anymore. Okay, what's my part in it? Where might they have been coming from at that point? You know, it's like with some of my exes, I look at it and I think, you know what I mean? Like, okay, now I get it a little bit. But Really more so with my first ex, but because my last ex, it was more mutual, but my first ex, he just wanted to be single. And he wasn't in love with me anymore, which that's the big part of it, right? He didn't want to be single, and then he got into a relationship about 3 weeks later with somebody else. And then wanted to stand in a bar and complain to me about him. And telling me like, oh my God, I never realized what I had when I was with you. I'm like, you've been with this dude for 3 weeks, okay, not even. And we were together for 5.5 years. You need to go somewhere else and cry or whatever. See, those are those moments when don't ask me to stand in that person's shoes and see how they're coming, you know. But like in retrospect, like, I think, you know, we were young when we got together, and I was just newly sober, you know, I was a year sober, and we kind of grew up together a little bit, and, you know, that relationship was a lot about having a lot of fun together. We traveled a lot with my dad and my stepmom, and, you know, who you are at 21 is not necessarily who you are at 26 or 27, and I think we both changed, and our goals both changed. You know, I've always been a homebody. I've always been that, and that's not what he wanted, you know. And at the time, I don't remember being angry. I remember being hurt, and in a lot of pain from it, but also kind of like 2 years before, I kind of realized I didn't really want to be in a relationship anymore. And be careful what you ask for, because sometimes you get it. And I've talked about this, I think, on here before, but we were sitting on a beach. We were in Mexico. We were in Cancun. And he was like at the edge of the water, and I was like reading a magazine, and I was like holding it, and I was like, I would like pull it down. I mean, this is true story, you guys. I would like pull it down, and I would be like, okay, there he is in my life. And I would put it up, and I'd be like, this is what my life is like if he wasn't in my life. 2 years later, we broke up. I'm like, okay, I can't be too sad when I got what I asked for, if that makes sense. But I don't even think it was really that I didn't want to be with him. I think it was that I didn't want to be with him the way that the relationship was, which, you know, there was really, I mean, it wasn't the worst relationship in the world, but it wasn't a great relationship either, you know? I don't know. It's been so long since we broke up. I mean, we broke up when I was, okay, we were together 5 years, and we got together when I was 23. So I was 28 when we broke up. It was on Valentine's Day, because that year I would have turned 29. So, and I'm 46. I mean, it's been almost 20 years since we were together. So today I can look, you know, and I can think to myself, I can look at the situation, I can say, well, you know, he was probably scared. He didn't know what it was going to be like to be on his own when he left, because he didn't. He was scared of that. You know, he was like, I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, you know, like, you've been the one that's taken care of me all this time, you know, and that was kind of how it was with my ex, too. He was like, you know, you've done everything. You've done the finances. You've done this. I don't know. Like, I don't even know how to do any of this stuff, you know? Breakups are just sad, aren't they? You know, like, and I think at the time there's so much emotion, but, you know, I think later when you step back and you look at the situation, I think it's like a little bit easier to say, you know, this is my part in it, and you know, and this is their part in it, and let them take, you know, responsibility for their part. And I don't know, relationships are hard. I get so many questions from people saying, like, you know, how do you get through a breakup? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You put one foot in front of the other, and you busy yourself with things to do, whether it's Netflix shows. Allow your girlfriends and guy friends to take you out and go do stuff. Seriously, don't sit at home and go, no, I really don't feel like like it, pull your shit together, go do some stuff. Like, really, go get out of the house, go do stuff, you know? Call up some old friends that you haven't talked to in a while, and if they make catty statements about, well, you sure didn't call me when you had a boyfriend, be like, nope, I sure didn't, and I feel really bad about it now, and I'm lonely, and will you please take care of me because I need to go do something because I'm losing my mind. You gotta ask for help, you know? Do not just sit at home and try to do it on your own, okay? And it's because and I don't believe that statement that it takes twice as long to get over a relationship as you were in it. I don't believe that at all. Somebody asked in my vlog last night, they said, you talk about your dad and your stepmom, but you never talk about whether or not your mom got remarried or something. You know what's funny? It's like I've alluded to it, but I haven't ever talked about it on here. My mom never got remarried. She dated for a while. I would say more when I was like in high school. Not so much when I was like a young kid, but she did. Some, not a lot, but when I was in high school, it was... She had a group of lady friends, and they used to go, and they could be a little wild. And then she didn't. And then she kind of just, like, when she got sober, it was just a completely different story. And, you know, my mom always wanted to get remarried. She always talked about how she wanted to get remarried, and, you know, but she really wanted to have a companion and just somebody to travel with, go out to eat with, go to movies with. You know, she would say, all my girlfriends, their husbands will say, like, they'll turn the TV off and be like, okay, time for bed. And she's like, I'm not having anybody tell me what time I go to bed. You know, like, I like to stay up till 2 o'clock, you know, some nights and watch a movie. Other nights I like to go to bed at 6 p.m. and I'm going to do what I want to do. Like, I have gotten this far in my life that I don't need somebody telling me what to do. And she's like, if I'm going to have somebody tell me what to do, I want it to be somebody that I'm really, really in love with. And the other thing that my mom really struggled with was, I don't know when, but like later, she wouldn't, this is so personal, but I don't know. It'll, somebody out there will relate to this, so maybe it'll help you. My mom wouldn't have sex with somebody unless they were married. That was something that she really believed in. And, so she was like a lot of men just didn't want to date my mom past a certain point because, you know, she wasn't gonna have sex with them. And I think she got discouraged by that. She also had a lot of issues with men her age wanting women that were 20 years younger. So she's like, I'm not gonna try to compete with somebody that's, you know, 20, 30 years my junior. I'm just not. And, you know, I want a man that wants a woman like me with saggy boobs and a little bit of wisdom and experience that, hey, like, I'm not trying to be something, you know. She'd say, I literally lay in bed and my boobs go, oh my God, it slid again. Anyway, my mom would say, this is really personal, it's really kind of intimate, but she would say, you know, like, when I'm in bed, when I lay in bed, my, like, boobs just, like, they sag and go right to the side. And, you know, I want a man that loves me for my saggy boobs, and if I can't find a man that loves me for my saggy boobs, and that probably isn't the man for me, you know? And that's what she would say. And, you know, she always wanted to have a breast lift. She always wanted to have a breast reduction, but, like, it wasn't paramount to her. It wasn't something that was more important than everything else. You know, she was like, I can't believe I was married to a plastic surgeon for all these years and I never got this stuff done, you know? But she was like, you know, I want a man that's going to accept me and love me for who I am, because that will say a lot about who he is. And then if I happen to get a breast, you know, lift and reduction on top of that, you know, like, well, that's great for me, and I guess it's great for him too. But I don't want that to be why he wants to be with me, if that makes sense. And, like, that she really struggled with this. You know, she really, really struggled with this idea, especially as she got older, of a man being her equal counterpart and respecting her for who she was as a woman. And, you know, I think it was something that she really didn't know how to deal with. And she would see friends of hers, and she, you know, and she would never put them down, but she would, like, she had friends of hers that, okay, my mom had a friend, this is a true story. She had a friend that made a list of what she wanted in a man. Okay, do you guys remember there was a book that came out? I think it was called The List or something like that. But anyway, this woman did this, okay? she made a list of like 30 deal breakers of things that she had to have on her list of her man, right? And the list was like, you know, her list was, must be, I mean, there were things on there that were like, must be a family man and, you know, like my kids. And this was like not her first marriage. And it was like, you know, treat me with respect, blah, blah, blah. It was all these things. But then there was also like, must make a certain amount of money. You know, must not ask for a prenup. You know, must be willing to travel 4 to 5 times a year. Things like this. Like to give jewelry as gifts. I'm just making some of this stuff up. I don't know, but the first 2 were on there. And I can remember my mom just was like so put out by it, you know. She was like, here I have been friends with her for so many years, and she loved her, you know, till the day that she died. And this woman was a very good friend of my mom, and you know, so was her husband. But she was like, can you imagine like making a like, okay, check. My mother would talk about that, and she'd just be like, I just can't even imagine being somebody's checklist. She's like, that is not what I want in life, you know. And so no, my mom never remarried, and that's why. I think at the end of her life, you know, when she had more friends, she said till the very end of her life, I mean, literally till 6 months before when we were in Gatlinburg, you know, I'm sure we talked about it. She would say all the time, I just hope I get remarried. I hope I meet somebody. You know, I remember my mom and I had a conversation, and it was probably in her mid-50s. And we weren't, like, my parents were never afraid to talk about sex, but it wasn't like we talked about it all the time. Does that make sense? Like, there was, like, not censorship of movies or, like, you know, things like that. And, like, they were very open with me about, like, how babies were made when I was growing up and all that kind of stuff. But, like, there was no crass talk in my house. Like, my mother would not have tolerated that for 2 seconds. You know what I mean? And, but I remember my mom and I talking, and, we were talking about like eroticism, and she said, it doesn't change. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she goes, I mean, she's like, you know, just because you're, you know, over 50 and you've gone through menopause. My mother went through menopause very early, and she's like, you know, you don't date and things like this. She's like, doesn't mean that, like, you don't still have passionate feelings or crushes or erotic feelings. Like, you think to yourself, I kind of like to, you know, like, it would be, he's attractive, I'd like to have sex with him. She's like, you still have those feelings. And she's like, that doesn't change. She's like, you know, in fact, for women, I think, she goes, you become more comfortable with your sexuality the older you get. You may not voice it, and you don't need to voice it, and you don't need to be, you know, shouting it from the mountaintops, but inside you feel a little bit more comfortable with it. It's taken you 50 years to become confident in your own body. You know, like the saggy boobs, she would say, I'm confident with them now. I don't need to change them anymore, okay? Somebody else might need for me to change them to look at me and find me lustful, but I don't need to change them for me. I'm confident in my, you know, my saggy boobs. But, you know, she would say, like, it doesn't change, and it's true, it doesn't. Like, I don't know, and it's so weird, too. Like, I think about this with my mom all the time, you know? Like, I know, like, we live in this Botox. Like, I said this the other day to Alex, and because he gets Botox all the time, he's like, well, what's wrong with that? And I said, there's nothing wrong with that. Do what you want to do. Like, I completely 100% support you. Obviously, my dad was a plastic surgeon, you know, for 35 plus years. And, you know, I mean, I don't have any issues with it whatsoever. But for me, today, I mean, down the road it may change. I've had Botox twice, you know. The first time I loved it. It was right before my wedding. I literally thought it took 10 years off. The second time, I was like, okay, it's arching a little bit. This is too much. And I was like, I'm never going to do this again. Like, my eyebrows went, like, way up, you know? But we've gotten into, I feel like, this world where we have to, like, keep up with how to look a certain way. And we just can't, you know? You just can't. And I look at some of my friends, and it's such a skewed society, too, you know, because men don't have to do it. Like, the more white my hair gets and the more wrinkles I get, this is a true story. I mean, I'm being 100% honest, okay? The more wrinkles I get and the more white hair I have, the more I have, like, well, I don't really, like, I said this the other day on a video, and it's the truth, though. I never get hit on by guys. I just really never do. But, like women will come up to me and be like, oh my God, you're so attractive, or, you know, like, I love your hair, or whatever. Like, that happens more and more and more. But that is, like, with women, that double standard is so unfair. And my mom and I used to talk about that. Like, she'd say, I want to grow my hair out white, blah, 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 blah. I'd be like, Mom, don't do it. Like, just don't. It'll age you 20 years, and you'll be real depressed about it. And she'd be like, I know you're right. She'd be like, but why do I have to do it when men can let their hair grow out and they can get a gut and nobody's holding them accountable for it, but a woman doesn't keep it up? It's like, oh, she's not sexy anymore. Why is a woman's sexiness related to her body, but a man's isn't? You know, a man, you know, oh, he's aged, he's experienced, all this kind of stuff. And I do think it's such crap in our society, you know? And I do even think it's kind of going into with men now too, because now you see so many men that are like built and, you know, perfect clothes, perfect hair, and all this kind of stuff that are in their 50s and 60s. You know, and I think, like, we're such a lookism society, and it just is like, and I don't, you know, I enjoy it. I enjoy the fashion. I enjoy the beauty. I enjoy the makeup and all that kind of stuff. But it's one thing to enjoy it and appreciate it, and it's another thing to become consumed by it. And I don't want to be consumed by it. You know what I mean? Like, I remember Diane Keaton on Oprah, and this is, I've stolen this from her, but, you know, Oprah had, I don't know if this has changed, she may have had a facelift since this time, but this was, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. You know, Oprah asked her, have you had any, you know, work done? And Diane Keaton said no, and she goes, would you? And she said, if I ever got to the point where I wanted to get, like, my eyes or a facelift done, I would do it. She goes, but right now, I feel more, for me, I'd like to age authentically. And that's totally, I mean, I so relate to that statement 100%. You know, 5 years from now, I may want to get a facelift and feel completely different about it. I may want to get Botox. I may want to get my eyes done. But today, I don't feel like I need to do that. Today, I kind of like the idea of aging authentically. And the weird thing is, like, you know, like, I want to, like, lose weight and get into the best shape of my body and my life and stuff. But, like, in all honesty, okay, this stupid camera keeps on sliding. But anyway, you know, like, even though, like, I want to get in the best body of, you know, my life and, you know, my dream body and all that kind of stuff, that's true, right? But at the same time, like, I don't have the same, I don't know, like, 10 years ago, even though I still struggle with body dysmorphia and all that kind of stuff, 10 years ago, it was so much worse, you know, like, and I was in so much better shape too. But at that point, you know, like, I'd stand in front of the mirror and I just pick apart my body, you know what I mean? Like, I don't do that as much anymore. And I really think that being on YouTube has helped that a lot too, you know? It's like, I don't know, it's made me a lot more comfortable in my own skin, in a way that I didn't have that 10 years ago. My throat is killing me. I don't know if it's from talking too much. I don't know if it's from making videos today and talking on the phone, talking, but my throat is killing me. But I don't have it the same way that I used to have it. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, I want to have the best body of my entire life. Don't get me wrong. And I'm going to have it too. I'm going to. Because that's a dream of mine. And that's a goal of mine. But at the same time, I don't beat myself up about it the way that I used to. It's like the other night when I cheated on my diet, I was like, well, I had more fun going out with my husband to dinner than I was going to have if I got up the next morning and could fit into my t-shirt a little bit more. Oh, Lord, this camera. I could fit into my t-shirt a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like, it's all perspective, I guess. Who knows? I think we have to take ourselves a little less seriously. I feel like everything's become so serious anymore, you know? I feel like we pay a lot of attention to the thing. We make things serious that don't need to be serious, and the things that need to be serious, we don't pay any attention to whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I really feel. Like, when I was talking about that St. Jude's Children's Hospital, you know, today, or tonight, when I was watching that commercial, it's like, that's some important shit. Like, let's just be for real. You know what I mean? Y'all know I love lead. Letty, okay, and I sent her a message. If you guys don't know, if you watch Letty or if you've watched her in the past from Letty's World, her mom recently passed away, and I sent her a message, and I just think she's such a kindred soul to me, such a compassionate person. I love her. I'll never forget when she made the video a couple months ago, like, that was addressing me, and she said, you know, she held up her phone, and she just was like, you know, I can just turn it off. Poof. And I think about that sometimes. It's like, I'm not doing it, so don't freak out, because I know then people will be like, oh my God, you're not going to make your vlogs anymore. No, I'm not going to do it. But I think about that. You know, have you ever, like, thought, like, it's not so much if I take the option, it's that I have the option. Do you know what I mean? And I think, like, her saying that one thing, like, anytime I want, I just turn it off. I just turn it all off and just, you know, and I'm like, I think about that all the time, you know, that any moment that I want to just disconnect from the social media world and just, goodbye. You know what I mean? Like, any moment you could, like, you know, anybody could. But then we allow ourselves to get so riled up by this stuff, you know? I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. This is a friend of mine that has nothing to do with YouTube, but, you know, they were on the Facebook and all this kind of stuff, and they're talking about, like, just getting into it with people, you know, over political stuff, and they're just going on and on and on, and, you know, oh, this person said that, and I don't know what to do, and I said, just don't post anymore on Facebook. Well, what do you mean? And I go, just don't post that shit on Facebook anymore. It's really that simple. Or don't read other people's posts, or don't comment on it, or don't get on Facebook at all. It's bringing you way too much stress. Well, it's not bringing me that much stress. I said, we've literally just sat here for 45 minutes and you complained about Facebook, okay? And they were like, she was like, and no, this is not Tanya. This is nobody I've talked about on here. And she was like, well, she was like, I just, you know, I should be able to post what I want to post on Facebook without, I go, well, I'm telling you, it doesn't work that way. You should totally be able to post whatever you want to post. Excuse me. You should have every opinion out there that you want to put into the world, ignorant, otherwise, educated, I don't care. You're right. You have every right to do that. You should do that, but that's just not how the world works. And she goes, well, I just don't know how you do it. She goes, how do you do it with all your opinions? I go, oh, I don't post them anymore. She goes, what do you mean? I go, oh, no, I don't do that anymore. I leave them for a video, but I don't get on the Twitter anymore and do that kind of stuff. She goes, you don't get on Twitter? I thought you loved Twitter. I said, oh, I'm on Twitter all the time. I love Twitter. I said, but I don't, like, I needed to take a break. And there was a period where I would only get on there twice a day, you know, once a day sometimes. And I said, you know, now I check it a couple times a day. I'm not, like, manic about it like I used to be. I don't want to live on social media anymore. I make my videos, I post them, I move on. I post my video on Twitter. You know, if somebody has sent me a message that said that, like, they just found me, or they're in the kitchen watching, you know, with Dinah, watching my videos, I'll like it or send them a little message back. Or if somebody sends me, you know, I try to keep up with some of the DMs, but honestly, I don't respond to a lot of my DMs on Twitter, you know, and it's not my favorite place anymore. And she was like, but how do you do it? How do you stay off of it? And I go, it brings me down. I don't need to have things in my life that bring me down. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need it. It's just not that deep, you know? I said, if Facebook is bringing you down, just don't engage in that, you know? It's just not, it's, anytime I want, I can just, goodbye, you know? And I think about that with Letty. It's like, it is really that simple, you know? There's a lot of people in 2018 that I follow that took like a minimum of a month off of social media. And I really respect them because we live in a social media world now, you know, we really do. And if you do anything, like you have any kind of hobbies or careers or whatever that have anything to do with the internet, it's almost impossible to stay off. Like, it really is, you know? And, you know, but at the same time, it's like, what's more important? You know, that or your sanity? And, two people that I follow on Instagram, one guy and one girl, they both did it, and they left for a month, and both of them announced it, and one of them did it in a really interesting way, and then the other one just kind of like put a little note with a picture, but both of them said that, you know, like, listen, I'm taking 30 plus days off, or I'm gonna be off social media for a while, and then they just kind of reappeared, and I noticed it like didn't affect their following whatsoever. Like, they didn't lose any followers. The people loved them when they came back, and it seemed like they were refreshed and different. I don't know. It may be something that I might do down the road. Like, I would keep on posting videos, but maybe just not post anything. I don't know. That's probably not true, because Alex and I we were talking tonight about our couple's Instagram. But I will say this, you know, like before, I was on Twitter all the time, you guys. Like, I was really, really on Twitter all the time. And, you know, then, and I talked about it on here, I started getting on Twitter like max twice a day, you know? And that was something that my counselor suggested to me, and my sponsor also suggested, but my counselor mostly. And I did that. And then I just kind of like, when I would get on there, I'd just be bored of it, you know? Now, I would say, like, I get on there if I'm looking for stuff to make a video about for my Peter Monn channel or whatever. But other than that, like, I just don't, you know what I mean? Like, Facebook bores the shit out of me. But I am posting on my Facebook page. I haven't, like, in a week. But I am posting over there. Instagram I love. I could just be on Instagram all day long, but I love just to kind of see people's pictures. I don't know why that's interesting to me. It's kind of like, I like your picture, but I don't really have to hear what your opinion is about the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, I kind of like that. Snapchat, I can't even remember. I mean, I said I was getting back on Snapchat, and I got back on it for like 2 days, and then I just didn't get on Snapchat anymore. I mean, I like Snapchat, but I just don't use it very much anymore. Goodreads, I love. I'm on Goodreads all the time. I love Goodreads. I'm obsessed with Goodreads. It's probably next to Instagram, my favorite social media. So, do you ever think about leaving social media? Do you guys ever just think about just like, it's interesting, isn't it? What's crazy to me is like I'm sure some of you do, okay? But like back in the day, it's kind of, now it's more likely that people don't like have cable and television and stuff like that. But back in the day, I can remember like this friend of mine, we were out to dinner, a bunch of us, and she said something. Somebody asked her if she had watched something on TV. This was a recovery friend of mine, and she said, "No, I don't have a TV." And I was like, "You don't have a TV?" I go, "What are you talking about? What do you mean?" It was baffling to me that she didn't have a TV. Okay, I can't even imagine not having it. I literally cannot imagine not having a TV, which is so crazy to me, because when I'm doing stuff around the house, I have movies on in the background and stuff like that, but very, very rarely do I just like sit there unless I'm with Alex and watch TV. Like, very rarely. The other night watching a movie, that was like the first time. If I'm eating, I guess there's a lot of times then that I watch TV. But you know, like just hours on end, like I don't do that anymore. Back in the day I did. But what's crazy to me now is like when I meet people, and I'll be like, "Oh, what's your Instagram name?" And they'll be like, "I don't have Instagram." And I'm like, "You don't have Instagram?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, are you on Facebook?" And they're like, "No, I don't have any social media. I'm not like on Facebook or Instagram or the Twitter or any of it." I'm like, "You don't have any social media? Like, how do people get in contact with you?" They're like, "No, I don't need it." And I'm like, and do you hear that silence? Like, that's what I imagine. Like, it's weird, isn't it, to think of what our lives were like before social media? Like, just silent. And I love social media. I do. Like, I love it so much. Like, that's the crazy thing. It's like I sit here and I talk about it, but I love it at the same time. Like, I love it so much. I just don't love the ugly side of it. Like, that's what I don't love about it. But, you know, with anything that you love in life, there's always going to be negativity to it. You know what I mean? You got to take it with a grain of salt, I think. And, I don't know. I don't even know what I would do with myself. I sometimes think about that with friends of mine. I'm like, well, what do you do? Because, like, we are such a generation now. Like, if you have, like, 5 minutes and you're waiting for somebody, you pick up your phone and you look at social media. You know, if you, like, somewhere to go, like, you know, if you're going to bed, you pick up your phone, you look at social media. Like, we are that world. You know what I mean? Like, my friend Tanya was the last one to get Facebook, and she's literally on Facebook all the time. Like, all the time. And it's just crazy to me, you know, that, like, we used to be this world of no social media, and now it's exactly what we go to. I don't know. You know, like, I don't get on Twitter very often, but I do get on, like, Instagram and Goodreads and that kind of stuff. Maybe that's one of my goals I need to make, you know, in 2019, is, like, I'm only going to get on social media, like, twice a day, or maybe once a day, you know? If I'm going to do it, maybe just do that. Not because it's bad for me, not because I don't like it, but because, you know, maybe I think that what happens then is it takes away from other things that we could be doing. You know, like I love to read. Maybe I could, you know, spend that time reading or listening to a song or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's an interesting thought. It's weird to have lived through the transition of no social media to being consumed with it, you know what I mean? And kind of seeing the changes that have occurred, like when Facebook was really just for like college kids, and then now it's like really just for like older people. I mean, this is the truth, let's just be for real. And, you know, like how Instagram and now, you know, started, and it was so much fun, and now Instagram is really like, Instagram kind of started as being kind of artsy, you know, and now it's like basically all paid partnerships and sponsorships and Instagram models, you know, and it's just interesting to see how that all started, you know, and you see how it kind of flooded from one to the other. MySpace back in the day, and all of that. Snapchat really screwed up when they changed their whole thing. I think that's when it just went, like for me, when I just lost complete interest in it whatsoever, was when that happened. Did you guys hear that Instagram like rolled out some changes, but they said it was just a test and they corrected it like real quick? Did you hear this was like a big deal? And people were so pissed about it. And so yeah. I don't know how long I've been vlogging. I have a feeling I've been vlogging for a long time now though. So listen, I'm gonna get off here because I was gonna only vlog for half an hour, but I have a feeling it's gonna be longer than that. And I'm gonna have to piece all these pieces together where the camera has slid down all the way to the passenger side of the car. So anyway, you guys are gonna be, the next time I will see you will be New Year's Eve, and some of you, by the time that I see you next, oh my God, the battery's flashing. It just started flashing, so that means it's time. The next time I see you, it will already be where you're at, like Annie Z. It will be 2019 in Australia and other places in the world where you're at when you're watching my next vlog. So if I don't get to say to you before I see you next, Happy New Year. I love you. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching my vlog. And so yeah, and I will see you. I guess I do have like a whole other day before New Year's Eve, don't I? But anyway, I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Oh, it won't shut off.